Hi everyone, Pauline Hardy here. I am delighted to say I'm joined by Joe Hendley. Why did I say Hendley? Oh my gosh, that's terrible. I do apologize, Joe. Joe Hendley of Prometheus Consultancy Ltd on our Tuesday talks. Myself and Gay Moore, as you know, are doing these series of weekly thoughts. We're hoping to fill enough slots with people to interview to get them done weekly on the humans behind their business. Okay, so we're really talking to people about being human in their business, showing up human, and effectively the values piece, I suppose, that has drove us to take the brave step into business ownership, which can be quite scary. And the purpose of these talks effectively is to speak to people about reconnecting with their why. We all want to see the human faces behind our business. We all want to allow ourselves to be human in our business, especially in this day and age where there is a lot of crushing and rushing and pressure to succeed. And this isn't about the business, the success of the business. It's about the success of a human behind the business, which effectively is the driver. So if you do wish to join us, as I said, I'm touting and scouting for people to come on and speak to me or Gay. Tuesday Talks, human conversations for business people. I'm going to shut up now because I talk too much myself and switch over to Joe. So Joe, I'm so grateful that you said you would come on and do this with me. I actually bullied Joe into doing this. I didn't.
Not really.
He didn't. He couldn't wait to do it. I didn't bully you at all, did I? He is the owner of Prometheus Consultancy and has been a great mentor to me. And I'm going to just shut up and say, Joe, tell us about you, the human behind your business, and what it is you do.
What is it I do? I help people sell more. It's just I help with their strategy, with their processes, to help them feel more confident in what they do when they're selling B2B primarily. In essence, that's what I do. I just help people to feel more confident in their ability to sell.
Great. And what led you to that?
That's a long story. But basically,
we're curious. We want to hear it.
No, we haven't got that long. Get a cuppa. I've always wanted to run my own business. It's something I've always wanted to do since the age of about 16, and I'm a little bit older than 16 now. So it's taken a while for me to get the range of skills and competencies together to be able to do something. And I always feel that people tend to come to me and kind of give me ask me for their advice, ask me for advice for their problems or for their issues. And it can be anything from relationship advice to business advice to, I used to be into photography, so people would come and ask me what's the best camera to buy. So I've always been one of those people that people seem to be able to talk to and open up to. And so it kind of seemed like the natural thing for me to go into coaching for either one-to-one or small groups of people, and look at the systems and process. So see, another trait that I used to have is as a kid, I always used to try and take my toys to pieces. My dad was an engineer. My sister was an engineer. I would always take the little toys to pieces to work out how they worked.
So you dissected them?
Yeah, and then put them back together, and hopefully they still worked. Obviously now
do you do that? You do that with people now, so dissect like kind of what issues they're facing and help them piece it back together effectively with clarity.
Yeah, so I look at how they're working, and see if there's any tweaks I can do to make their processes better or to make their conversations a little bit better. And I eventually got into psychology as part of, it's like I say, it's a long story. I got into psychology, and so I tried to use psychology within everything that I do.
So
And have a laugh.
you've done like, you were talking about your dad there, you say was an engineer, and that kind of like inspires the whole, you know, figuring out effectively how things work and how to put them back together, like the mechanics of it. But you've had loads of different careers, because effectively, like, I was thinking about even like speaking to you about my own pivot podcast, and because you've had pivot and pivot and pivot into different industries, and you've done a lot of traveling as well. I mean, you spoke there of, okay, the engineering piece, which is kind of comes from your dad. Then you, if I correctly read, you went into IT.
Yeah.
What, you went into IT. What did you do in IT? Was it IT support or?
Yeah. So I started off first line support, help desk, changing people's passwords, installing PCs, like lifting and shifting, within a hospital up in West Cumbria to start with. And then over about 9 years, I kind of worked my way up to a bit of project management and network admin for an NHS trust. So there's about 1,500 computers spread across quite a rural area. So that was an interesting challenge. But then, I just got to a point where I needed a change, and some things had happened in my life, or I made a decision to make some changes in my life. And then, long story short, I decided to go traveling. So all the pivots I've done have been self-imposed because I like a challenge. I tend to get bored if I've achieved everything that I want to achieve. I genuinely get bored.
Yeah, they're really important pivotal points for people, aren't they, though? Like, when we do get bored, we can get very frustrated, like, and agitated in ourselves, like, and I think it's that kind of curiosity piece about, like, the continuous learning. And I don't even mean like learning in a way that another degree or another title after a name. I mean, even learning in a way that's kind of self-learning, because sometimes that's the most valuable piece, especially as a business owner as well. Like, when it comes to the human piece, the self-learning to build the emotional resilience to keep at it is very, very important. So where did you go off on your travels?
Southeast Asia. So I started off with, again, long story. I ended up meeting somebody in Bangkok. Well, I started talking to someone online. Like I say, very long story. I ended up arranging to meet someone in Bangkok because they knew Bangkok very well. So I had a bit of a tour around there. Bearing in mind the furthest I'd ever been, apart was like New York and Madeira. And that was not on my own. I basically sold everything down to a backpack. I've got on a plane on Christmas Day 2006.
Wow.
Got a free upgrade to business class. So thanks to BA for that.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely wonderful. And I went to Bangkok, and then I went to Cambodia. No, actually, I went back to India for a couple of weeks. I was supposed to be doing a sort of volunteer at a software company as a project manager for a few months. That didn't quite work out for me. It basically got missold. And then I ended up in South Korea with the person that I'd met in Bangkok. So South Korea, and then went back down Southeast Asia through Cambodia, Angkor Wat, which is an amazing place, and then travelled to New Zealand, and then had a couple of weeks there, driving north to south again. Amazing country, absolutely beautiful. Then decided it would be a sensible idea to have a couple of weeks in Hawaii. So
why not?
Why not? While I was going round, I might as well go over there. Again, I'm a bit of a nerd. I like, as well as the beaches, I like, things like volcanoes and stuff. And then I ended up with my girlfriend at the time in Toronto for about 8 or 9 months. Got a job in sales.
So how long were you traveling in total?
About just over a year, probably about 16 months.
Yeah. And I
Um,
assume I shouldn't assume, but I would say in that space of a year of traveling, there was some serious self-awareness and learning that brought you to the
Challenges.
business. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
challenges as well.
challenges.
Like that
Yeah.
kind of brought you to coming home and deciding, oh, I'm definitely going to go for starting my own business. This is something I've always wanted
Well,
to do.
you see, that wasn't it. I actually did a degree. I came back and did a degree in international
Oh, there was a
relations.
piece in the middle. There was a piece after that then that I
Yeah,
missed. I
so
apologize.
4 years mature as a mature student, um, learning international relations and trying to learn Chinese, but failing miserably. I had another year in China as part of that, and then got a couple of jobs, not one after the other, and then things happened that allowed me to just quit and start my own start my own business, which was the big challenge, and it still is. And like you say, um, it's the idea of never settling and always wanting to develop yourself and develop the things that you want to help people with.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And I mean, I think the values piece is a huge piece. Like we can kind of drift through life through different experiences and learning and jobs and careers and even traveling as well, which are hugely valuable experiences, but sometimes they just bring us to those pivotal points where we go, yeah, what do I really value? Like, what do I want to do? How can I help others and how can I help myself in that process as well, and that's a huge part of me, the human behind my business and what I do to help others as well. Yeah, I know.
It's very rewarding when you do help people. And I'm sorry, but when they pay you and they say thank you and they smile and you know that you've genuinely helped them in some way, it's incredibly humbling and incredibly rewarding. And it's something I think as you know yourself as a coach, it's just one of the best feelings in the world. And that's what you do, right?
What is just listening to you there, and I know you use a very, and I may pronounce this word wrong, but it's kind of a somatic approach to kind of sales coaching. So it kind of, because you do NLP as well, you kind of combine kind of NLP into it as well. So like it is kind of making that kind of mind, head, heart, gut connection to how even as business owners we sell ourselves. Because I think, we kind of can be a bit shy of that whole process, and I know I would have been for a long time, but like there's a way of doing it that, if I can say personally about you, I think you do it quite uniquely, and that is, I know I don't want to use the word USP, but I think that's kind of your edge, because you're kind of very calm and competent in what you do in a way that's not overly pushy or shovey, or sometimes a lot of salespeople, and I'm probably generalizing there, some salespeople are very like buzzy and in your face, and don't get me wrong, sometimes people say to me, Pauline, you're too high energy, will you calm down? But like when you're doing it in sales, like I think you really do master that art of creating that head heart human connection that people are, they're more inclined to listen to you and to hear what you have to say. Would I be correct in saying that there is definitely a value piece behind your approach to that, or what do you think it is that enables you to do that really well?
Stereotypes tend to exist for a reason. There is a stereotype that salespeople tend to be kind of pushy and annoying. You see it on LinkedIn all the time, where people are complaining about connection requests coming in, and then they get pitched, and the pitch is just a marketing pitch with a link on, please join my webinar or download this stuff or look at my website or whatever, and nobody likes it. Pretty much everyone hates that kind of hard sell, and I don't really think it works an awful lot these days. For me, especially working B2B, it's more about the consultative sell. It's a trusted advisor sell. So yeah, give information away, a little bit of information away. Don't give too much value away, but help people a little bit. And then, you know, when you're talking to them, just treat them as humans. Treat them as you would want to be treated yourself. And then you just kind of, you know, I like to ask questions. I like to try and get to the nub of the problem, or the root of what's going on in their business, or even their own head and heart. And then try to understand that. And then, you know, if I can offer a solution, then I will do. And if I can't, then I'll say, look, I'm not the right person for you.
Yeah, I think if we can't be human in our business and speak to other people like they are literally humans, instead of doing the whole salesy, pitchy, robotic-y kind of buzzy words thing.
Especially as coaches, we have to be human. The people have to be able to open up to us and talk to us and feel that they're in that safe space to be able to say, look, I've got to put this, that, and the other. And it's not just the personal coaching side of things, but the business coaching side of things, because, you know, we invest a lot within our businesses, whoever we are, whatever size business we have. We always have a lot of pride and ambition within that.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to.
Yeah.
People have to be able to talk to us.
They have to be able to relate. That's one of the biggest pieces as well. I find it's the relatability piece. What do you find, Joe, is possibly one of the biggest challenges that you face just trying to stay human in your business?
I think, you know, salespeople the world over will relate to this, but we all have slumps now and again. And, you know, it's the lead generation. So the lead generation, and then getting the enough conversations going. And then, you know, sometimes it is a natural thing that we all hit a slump. And getting out of that slump is difficult. So, like you mentioned before about a resilient mindset, if you can use the tools that you have available, and you can look at ways to maintain that resilience, or to maintain that positive mindset no matter what, and just believe that, you know, the slump is going to end, and if you can keep that motivation going, then the slump kind of reduces itself anyway, and it's actually not that bad, you know. Plus, you can always use the downtime for learning and self-development, which again helps with the positivity, and you feel like you're doing something, you're achieving something, and then that naturally flows into the rest of your business as well.
Yeah, it is kind of creating that flow, isn't it? Like, especially when
I'm human. Sometimes I do have a problem where, you know, it's kind of, here we go again, and let's just, you've got to keep at it. And it's like the thing of discipline versus motivation, I think, isn't it? I mean, you know, discipline, you've just got to show up and keep doing it no matter what, right?
Yeah, but they're in that space though as well for business owners. Allowing themselves to be human in that space is really important, because that's something that I would experience a lot of pressure in, that pressure to show up consistently. And I agree, you have to be consistent in your business and your approach, don't get me wrong, if you want to, you know, make it as good a success as what you define it to be, and that's very personal and individual to each business owner. But I think there's huge pressure to show up. You know, what's the famous saying? Like, was it Woody Allen? 80% of success is showing up effectively. And yes, it is. Don't get me wrong, but I think there's days we have to kind of allow ourselves to not show up. I mean, I fecked off for like 2 weeks in September because I really just needed to do that, to reconnect with the human piece and to reconnect again with the why behind my business. And I suppose in that space, as you know, from just taking time out, from traveling, from doing different things, you do kind of find clarity, and that kind of builds the emotional resilience to keep going.
if you, the downtime allows your brain a bit of creative space to think and come up with ideas. You know, which is why, you know, meditation tends to work. If you just empty your brain, then it allows your brain to come up with all sorts of ideas you didn't, you know, consciously think of normally. But yeah, it's yeah, you're right. You do have to remember to be nice to yourself, and I do tell my clients that as well. I'm actually the worst at that, but you know, it's very easy to be hard on yourself, and it's very easy to tell people what to do and then not do it yourself. But
it is,
yeah,
we're all human. We all do that, like, and we all like feel, you know, the urge to kind of to compare how successful our business is to somebody else's, to see, you know, and yeah, like it's that can be something that, you know, I've had business owners come to me, and it's one of the first things I'll say to them: don't start looking at what other people are doing. Like, obviously, you know, model and get inspiration and stuff, but if you're going to start, you know, allowing yourself to be distracted by that distraction, effectively you're on a way into nothing, because as somebody who's been there and done that, it really can cause you to kind of go into the downward spirals of, I'm not good enough, my business isn't good enough, I'm never going to make it, I'm not going to be able to do this.
Or you feel like a fraud.
Yeah, that's huge, isn't it?
Imposter syndrome.
That's the imposter syndrome that apparently, like, more women suffer from than men. We get into gender problems here, I get taken down.
I don't know.
I think humans suffer from it, like, just humans in general suffer from that. And again, like, as myself and Gay were kind of discussing when we were thinking about doing these interviews, it's not about, oh, my business turns over like so many million a year, I'm brilliant, I'm this, that, and the other. It's not about that. It's about this successful human. Because, like, to be honest with you, like, anybody that has the guts to actually just dive into entrepreneurship or business ownership, you know, that's a success in its own right, regardless of where it goes or what happens. If it works out, if it doesn't, it's just, I look at it from my own perspective as, you know, it'll be a pivot into something else if it doesn't go the way it's meant to. But that's the human piece again, you know.
I think if you feel genuinely that you've done the best you possibly can, and you've given it a go, then, you know, no one's going to kick you for that.
Yeah, it's a huge strength, an absolutely huge strength, and something that, you know, I have to say, I have to kick my own ass on a lot, because I like, okay, you know, where am I going with this? What are we doing? But it is effectively like, the people will connect with you, the human, first anyway, and we do buy from people, and we buy from the human connection and the energy and the values piece that we pick up off them. If I was to ask you, like, what was the value piece in your business, like, what would be your core value in your business, that you would use to connect on a human level with people?
Just be human. Just treat everyone like humans. And, you know, I think with business, it's quite easy to get lost in the business language and to just think about business. But at the end of the day, everyone within the business is human. So, and we all like to be treated with a given amount of respect and just humanity. You know, it just, it's the reason why you and I get on so well is that we don't like the BS and things, and we can quite easily see through that. So,
and that's a big piece in sales, isn't it? Because, like, there's a lot of, like, people who just bullshit in sales. I'll just be brutally honest, and, like, I think they actually forget that talking to humans in the process. So. Like, we all have bullshit filters and lie detectors, because, again, that goes back to the piece that you work on, and I know as coaches that we work on with people, is the connect in the head and the heart to understand and process the information that's put in front of us as to whether it is bullshit or whether it's not effectively.
Well, people can just tell very, very quickly whether it is or not, as well. So I think that the value part of what I do is that I do tend to treat everyone like humans, even when I'm looking at the processes and the systems, it's still thinking about how people are going to use it and the behaviors that the data and the processes can show up. And just be very straight about it, not be that salesy about it.
Yeah. I really think people forget the power of just saying it as it is, respectfully. Don't get me wrong. But I'm very much so somebody, like when somebody is selling me something or I want to buy something, I want them to tell it to me as it is. I want them to be direct with me. I don't want them to use flowery, fluffy words. Just speak to me meet everybody at the same level and speak to me like I am the human here in front of me, and I'll treat you exactly the same way. As you say, we need to treat people as we wish to be spoken to and treated as well. But yeah, it's a skill. I know from watching you and your business grow, and even connecting with you initially on LinkedIn like months ago now, that one of the core values that I see that comes true in your business, if you don't mind me saying, is integrity and humility. Like, you're so humble about being able to do this, and to share your massive bank of strengths and skills from your human experience and your life experiences, and bringing that to the table to share with others. So I commend you on that piece, because not many people can master it without being bullshitty. Let's be honest.
That's incredibly kind of you. I don't set out to do that. I'm just me.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's like that. That's because you're allowing yourself to do that as a business owner.
Okay, thank you. I'll take that. That's very kind of you.
Joe, do you not agree? No, seriously. No, I think you do it very well. And I think a lot of people will get that calm, balanced, centered approach. As a salesperson who, people in sales who want sales training, or people who just in their businesses who want, sales training, being calm and balanced and approached in the way that you kind of encourage people to show up in their businesses, is something that can only have a knock-on effect on their own development, on their business development, and on the people that they connect with too.
That's the idea. Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yep.
Yeah.
It seems to work. The people seem to get more confident after I finish with them. So
You don't frighten them.
I hope not. I don't think so.
And you're not frightened yourself either. That's the thing.
Scary.
What did you say?
Does this face look scary?
Yeah, I was going to say to you, are you frightened now? Like, because human piece, let go of the fear. We've got to let go of the fear. And you do. And otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting here with me today, and I wouldn't be sitting here, and we still wouldn't be plowing on in our businesses. And as you say, showing up and letting go of that fear of judgment and fear of what other people think is a success or what's not a success. That doesn't matter. That's all our own definitions and our own measures,
Exactly.
Yeah. Any final words, Joe? It's been enlightening as always speaking to you. As I said,
thank you very much for the opportunity. It's very nice for you to have asked me, and it's like with the other videos that I've done. It's still a challenge because there are no takes here. It's just happening, and as we kind of agreed, we did agree to just not go for a scripted set of questions, and we'll just go for the conversation.
Yeah,
and
which some people will judge me for, because I'm the one who's conducting the interview, and I really don't care, because I can show up with nervous energy sometimes as a business owner, but good energy, and I think people can distinguish that, So yeah, I mean, to come with a set of scripted questions sometimes can be, again, monotonous, and it can fall into not being human, and kind of rigid.
It's not, yeah, exactly. It's not. It doesn't give you any flexibility there at all. So if the conversation flows a different way, then you're kind of stuck. So I think it maybe it shows you as being more flexible and have more skills in interviewing, because you can just take the conversation wherever it goes.
Yeah, because I learned so much as well from people who are showing up like yourself to do these interviews, and I learn, in that space of being a business owner, how important flexibility and being able to adapt and keep reinventing is. Not reinventing the wheel all the time, but like I look back and I learn every time I do a video, because there's a lot of pressure on business owners as well to get out there and do videos as well. And I think it's important to just assess your behavior and how you're showing up, and just let go of, oh look, I was a bit nervous, I was a bit giggly, I was a bit people might think that's unprofessional. That doesn't matter. For every one person who'll think that might be unprofessional, there'll be 5 who think it's brilliant. That's what we forget.
We're both new. A lot of us are new to the whole being videoed thing. Being interviewed is even rarer. That resilience comes from practice. You just got to keep doing it until like you say, don't worry about what other people think. It's I'm one of those worriers. I naturally like that, so I know what it's like. But the less anxiety you have about what other people are thinking about you, then life is so much easier.
Exactly.
And you become you, and people will always, there will be plenty of people out there that will gravitate towards you because you're being authentic. I know that's kind of an overused word these days, but if you're being very genuine and being yourself,
but when it's used in context, it makes a lot of sense. And being a coach, being a sales coach, you're a sales coach, executive coach, whatever type of coach you are, whatever type of business person you are, once you kind of go down that path, I feel, of being very scripted and generic and kind of not adapting and flowing, I feel that's when people start losing what it is you're actually trying to sell or say. So as business owners here, and speaking to the people who are business owners even watching this, or whoever is watching it, to say that just allowing yourself to have the compassion to show up as you is really important. Genuinely connect. I do avoid the word authentic most of the time, but in context, I can say be real and raw, or AWS.
I like that.
Genuinely connect with people on a human level. Joe, where can we find you? Tell us a bit more about yourself. Obviously, we can get you on LinkedIn. I'll put in links to your profile and stuff if anybody wants to connect with you around sales coaching. Or
that's probably the easiest thing. Obviously I have a website, but just connect with me on LinkedIn. If you like what you see, send me a message, and if you want a conversation, we'll have an informal chat. Take it from there. What's the website again? Prometheus, that's Prometheus, nothing to do with the film, -CS, charliesierra.co.uk. Brilliant. I'm sure you will have a lot of people that can relate to everything you have said. And if you want sales with a more somatic approach, using lots of Joe's skills and strengths and his NLP and psychology background and a wealth of life experience and knowledge, please do get in touch and connect with him on a human level, as likewise he will do with you. Joe, it's been brilliant talking to you. I'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Thank you very much. Thank you.